Welcome to the Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast. This is a sacred space where healing begins, intuition awakens, and your spirit remembers its power. I'm your host, Barbara Savin, author, energy healing specialist, hypnotherapist, and spiritual life coach. For over 35 years, I've guided thousands of souls to protect their energy, trust their intuition, and step into their most empowered self. I invite you to join me for heartfelt conversations, spiritual insights, and gentle practices that nurture your soul and inspire your daily life. And together, we'll explore how to rise above negativity, trust your inner wisdom, and embrace the truth of who you are, a divine, radiant being of love and strength. So take a breath, settle in, and know you are not alone on this journey. You are loved. You are supported, and you are more powerful than you've ever been told. So let's rise together and join me now as your host. Well, thank you for joining me today, and welcome to the Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast. I'm your host, Barbara Savin, here to help you reclaim your power, your energy, and your authentic self. And today, it is such a blessing to share the sacred space with my very special guest. And her light, her wisdom, and her heartfelt guidance are gifts to all of us. So welcome, Rachael. Wow, all the way from Ireland.
Thank you so much. It's such a special honor to be here.
Well, thank you. So before we begin with our conversation, let me introduce you to my listeners. Rachael is the founder of Hearth Space, is an intuitive and psychic channel. She holds space for you to reconnect with the inner and outer rhythms of life. And through gentle noticing practices, cacao ceremonies, guided meditation journeys, tarot readings, events, and retreats, Rachael invites you to engage in the art of noticing, awaken your awareness and intuitive wisdom, and come home to your own inner hearth, the unique light that shines brightly within you. Wow, that is beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow. So let me ask you, have you always known that you've had like these abilities?
Honestly, I mean, I think when I look back to when I was a kid, I think there is a lot where things are kind of starting to trickle in that would have made sense. But only really, I think it was 2023 that I really kind of started exploring into kind of out of the mundane and realizing that the mundane is actually very important too. But out of the mundane and realizing that there was more to my existence than just my physical reality.
Physical reality. Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible when all of a sudden that light bulb goes on inside of us and we say, wow, we're not just, energy being, we're spiritual beings in this physical body. And it's such a beautiful feeling to finally say to yourself, all right, I'm going forward with it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you, what led you to find, I know you found it's hearth space
The
and
heart space.
right, hearth space. And what does like holding space mean to you? You could say like in practical terms.
So the heart space was kind of a long time coming. It started in 2023 under another name, which was in alignment with where I was at that time. And it was called Meraki. And then over time, over the year, I grew so much. I opened up my awareness to so much more that, and because my sacred space, the heart space, is an extension of me, when I change, it changes too. So Meraki was beautiful, but it was something that kind of evolved then into the heart space, which is very much centered on the inner being and centered on really engaging, as you very kindly mentioned, in the art of noticing and bringing our awareness into what is there, what is inside us, and what is around us, and noticing that everything that we see in our outer reality is simply just a mirror of what is going on within us. And that can be through people, places, situations. Everything that we see is a mirror, it's a lesson. So the heart space is really about holding space for that to occur, not necessarily from a space of here I am, I'm going to teach you this.
Hmm.
It's more of a here I am, I'm going to hold space for you, prompt and guide maybe when needed, but more to create a space of self-discovery for people where they can be feel safe, held, and protected, but also very supported in that as well. Um, yeah, that is the heart space. It's really connecting to allowing people to connect to their inner light.
So do you find like what age group come to you?
It really varies. I mean, it can be, yeah, all ages, everyone is always welcome. You know, it's really, I can't really put a specific age bracket on it because it really does vary. Um, but yeah, it's a beautiful community that is kind of still very much forming at the moment, but it's really beautiful to see how, you know, how when you put yourself to when you decide to be of service and know that everything you're doing is not you, but it's coming through you
For you. Hmm.
and it's bigger and it's helping people in ways that maybe you could never imagine yourself. It's just it's such a rewarding thing to be able to say. And it's not even I did that. It's like I facilitated that. I let that flow through me and how much has that helped others.
It's a beautiful feeling. I know even for myself, I've been doing this now for like 40, 45 years. And actually, I just turned 77 this year. And I said to myself, ooh, and I have people that say, well, when are you going to retire? It's not about that. It's about helping, again, as you mentioned, being of service to others and helping them find their authentic self, know that there is more than just what is here, what you
Yeah.
see. Yeah, it's to reach inside of yourself and to allow that being to finally come out and and be that really bright light, I want to say.
Exactly, exactly. That's in there, and everything that we need is really just within us. That, and there are so many beautiful tools and tools that I work with as well. But remembering that they are just tools, and they are beautiful and tangible expressions of the self.
So,
So everything that we work with, whether it's cards, whether it's I don't know, going for a reading, or even like working with a plant medicine like cacao, for example, you know, it's bringing up something in you that's already there. It's not, there's nothing new. It's just something that's recalibrating and remembering within you, which is really exciting, actually.
oh, very exciting, believe me. I've had all that happen to me over these years. And I said to myself, okay, at this age, we're still going strong. So that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But so let me ask you something. What were some of the biggest challenges that you actually faced, on your path, and how did you actually move through them?
I think that some of the biggest things that I've faced along this journey, and now they never end. They keep coming. It's just the level of awareness that we can bring to
Mhm.
them once we allow ourselves to notice things. Because things repeat themselves. We live in spiral form, you know? So when we cultivate that awareness, we can see like, oh, there's that thing that was a challenge before. I'm going to approach it from a different level now. I'm going to approach it not even from a different level, from a different level of awareness per se.
Yes.
So I think the biggest thing that was kind of a challenge for me was being influenced by the external. And I think it's beautiful that there are so many like spaces and practitioners and facilitators and everything that are out there. It's really, really helpful. And I have so many great teachers that I am so grateful for and so thankful for. But at the end of the day, I think in this world, I don't know what it's like in the US, but in this world, it's just like there's always something. There's always something new. There's always something different to try. And trying is brilliant, but it's making sure that these modalities and these tools don't actually cut you off from your own self, that we don't become so reliant on these things or thinking that there is a path that we need to, that we should be following per se. I think that's been my biggest challenge is to actually go, hang on a minute, where am I in this? Is this what I want? Why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I really want to? Am I doing this is because that's what I'm being called to do?
Do.
Or am I doing this because everybody else is doing it? Or that's the next tangible step. But with this, that there is no really tangible steps, they just happen, you know?
Mm.
So that has been my really my biggest challenge. And it still comes up, but it's having the level of awareness now to say, okay, I see that. Is that what I want? No? Okay. And having that discernment to be able to say, that's really great, but is that for me? Maybe not. Maybe it is. Maybe I'll give it a try. And that's kind of been it. And it still comes up all the time. And like nobody's perfect. Nobody's an expert necessarily on all of this because everybody's path is so different.
Oh, it's so different.
Um,
Everyone feels things differently.
absolutely.
I know, like for myself, at this stage, I'm still learning, I'm still searching. So, I'm still growing. So, it's like anything else. If something new comes to me, I give it a chance to say, all right, does this feel good for my highest good, or is it that I'm just want to do it for just doing it? So, yeah, it's how we feel inside, and it's that. I like sort of like that gut feeling. You just know when it's right and when it's not right.
And there's a part of that where, maybe something like as I said, as my own kind of sanctuary has evolved, that there are things that maybe I offered at the start that I don't offer anymore. And it's not because I have any less respect or any less love for them. I do because, we honor all parts of our journey, even looking back in hindsight, thinking, okay, I can see now like why that doesn't resonate anymore, but
Mhm.
also, and it's okay that things don't resonate anymore because we grow, like and I think in terms of that, trying new things and getting to the next level, because we are kind of brought up in a society where it's like achievement after achievement after achievement. And then when we enter this kind of, when we awaken, so to speak, or we kind of start our spiritual healing journey, it's like we almost try to mirror that. We try to mirror the, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? Whereas really, we don't need to necessarily chase qualifications and courses all the time. Yes, they're brilliant
Mhm.
and they're very helpful and they're helpful for ourselves and for credibility and everything like that. But ultimately, the quest is actually inwards, you know? So if we find that something doesn't resonate with us, we think, okay, what am I here to share? What do I have? What am I here to offer that doesn't exist? What am I here to offer that it might sound crazy, but the ultimate calling, I guess.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I know. For me, it's the same. I just know I know when I've outgrown something that
Yeah,
it's time to move on.
exactly.
Or, in my world here, I do life coaching and hypnosis and energy. I do energy healing more than anything. And you just know when to step away from something
Yeah,
that it just
exactly.
right, it doesn't serve purpose no more for you. You've outgrown it or you've learned whatever it is. Now it's time to move on to the next and to be
Exactly.
open, for it.
And that can be really scary too. And that's also what the heart space is about. It's holding people through these times of transition, through these times of, oh, I thought this was me, but it's actually not. And going through that kind of grieving process of,
Mhm.
who am I without this? Or how can I go forward with this? Will people trust me? Will people believe me? Will people still follow in it or support or whatever?
Mhm.
Um, but it's also about holding people through that as well, holding people through when the layers start to fall off.
Oh boy, does it get uncomfortable when those layers start falling
So
off. Uh-huh.
biggest growth happens in those moments of who am I? What am I doing? You know?
Hmm. Yeah, it becomes very because it's the unknown.
It is.
Even
Absolutely.
though the soul knows
Yeah.
what it is, when the layers start removing, now you're in an unknown territory that doesn't feel right. It's not familiar
Yeah,
because it's something that you need to grow and learn.
exactly.
So let me ask you then, when you hold space, what are the energy, what type of energy and what are you could say the outcomes that, that you're actually aiming for?
I think I think for me it comes back to values when I'm kind of holding space. I really think for me, and I'm um outside of this work, I'm a teacher. I teach the English language. And I think holding space in both of those situations is actually very similar because ultimately, how I would like people to feel is safe, supported, heard, seen, and that they are given space. There's not necessarily like a set ritual of everything that they need to do, just like when they're learning a language. Yes, there are rules, but they have to be given room to play as well. So safety, feeling safe, feeling supported, feeling like they know the other people in the room, they feel comfortable with the other people.
Yes. Hmm.
The outcome, it really does depend on the person, as you probably know yourself, but it really does depend on the person. But ultimately, to feel like they have been given space to enter this world of self-discovery, enter this world of awareness, and ultimately just feel kind of at peace, feel that they have kind of had their cup filled by themselves or in that space, and cultivating an element of trust in those spaces as well, which is very, an energetic hygiene, of course, in that space. So that's ultimately what I aim for, really. I never exactly know what's going to happen when I hold space because spirit works in mysterious ways.
Yes, it
But but at the same time, yeah, that's it. Trust, safety, support, being
is.
seen, being heard, and being given that space.
Yeah.
Because we can suggest rituals, we can suggest different paths to follow, but ultimately it is down to the person. I had someone close to me, a friend of mine, asked me, how do I read oracle cards? How do I shuffle them? How do I do it? I'm interested. Can you teach me? I said, I can show you the way I do it, but that's not the only way, you
Hmm.
know? And my ways of working with cards have changed since I started working with them. Um, and it's also like having that awareness of creating that kind of space where people know that my way isn't the highway.
Right,
It's
exactly. Hmm.
ultimately, here's this, take of this what you will. You don't have to, there's no box rule set of how this needs to go or how you need to navigate this. You navigate this in your own way. And that's what I'm here for to support you with, you know?
And you're not judging in any way, so
No,
that's a beautiful thing. You're
absolutely.
allowing them to be free to be who they're meant to be, and
Exactly.
do it their own way. And everybody's way is different.
If there was one way to do things, I think life would actually be really boring.
Yes, it would be. Be very boring. Yeah. So let me ask you, what is um the most common misconception that you encounter, about this work, and how do you actually address it?
I think that there's a few, but I think kind of circling back to that point that I made that, you know, this part of where people think that there's a set path. There's a kind of like, okay, I've entered this world now of spirituality, of healing, of whatever path people choose to go down.
Hmm.
Here's my like roadmap of steps. I think that can be that way. Or, oh, when I get to this stage, then I'll be, having this kind of forward future projection of, you know, when my ego dies, then I'll be, but the ego never dies.
No.
The ego's always there. Um,
Hmm.
and that is one of them. And the other one I think is in this in this world of holistic wellness or spirituality, whatever you want to call it. Each like every person has a different name for it. That I think there's this conception, and it's because the education around it and the awareness around it is not there, which is not for me to judge, which is why I always try to show kind of people, yes, this is great, but also here's
Hmm.
this side of it too, and being kind of the transparency, I think, within this world of people kind of thinking that, oh, it's all happy clappy and love and light and la 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 la.
Yeah.
And then when you're in the depth
Not.
of grief or in the depths of rediscovering who you are, then people are like, oh, I thought this was supposed to be fun. Like, yeah, it is. It's really fun.
In a different
You
way.
in a different way. Exactly. So I think that, and then, it's because it is kind of still very much in its emerging phases here as well. Where like people there's just not as a lot of what's the word? There's not a lot of knowledge about it.
Hmm.
Um, And some of that can be kind of just pushed off as, I know that's just an extra thing. And it is, absolutely. It can be, it is what everybody makes it.
Hmm.
Um, but I think sometimes it can be confusing sometimes for people when they think that this journey is all exciting and happy and clappy and rainbows and butterflies and all this, and then the layers start peeling off, and then it's kind of like, oh, what's happening to me? And then you can't go back.
No.
Even if you want to, you can't go back because it's just the start of this journey that you have decided to take because your soul wanted to awaken in this lifetime.
Well, that's it. And I always say it's like a roller coaster ride. It has its, highs, and sometimes, boy, it has its lows, and the lows are there for you to grow and to understand what is it that you need to accept, what is it that you need to finally let go in this lifetime so that you can grow into that beautiful being of light, and know that there is that joy and happiness and calmness and everything that is your birthright, I want to say.
I think that that's just kind of brought up another thing into my mind. And exactly like I think it's again coming back to it's where you're able to see, like to be the observer of your own reality, to see that my father actually said this to me recently. He said, "This is all a game. You can choose to play it or not." And I thought that was really wise, but
It's
um and being able to see, not just see, and I think I always talk about awareness and the art of noticing, and it is really important, but it's not the only part of it. The art
Mhm.
of noticing is just the gateway, and then from that comes the embodiment, the integration, the acceptance, because we can say, oh, okay, yeah, here's this thing that I don't really want to carry on anymore. And then it's like, okay, but there's so much more than that. I think that can also be another misconception of, you identify and then it's gone, or wondering why it's not gone yet, because there is a lot of work to do, and it's not easy work, but it's
Mhm.
so rewarding. And this is my really where I'm stepping into, is being able to hold people through that, not by telling them what to do, but just by saying, I see what you're going through. I see
Mhm.
you. I feel you. I hear you. I'm here.
Do you think most like healers or people like-minded like us um, go through a lot of grief and sorrow before we finally step into our being?
Absolutely. Because I mean, I think every time we hold space, we learn ourselves. Like
Mhm.
every time we hold space and there's something because when we're holding space, there's always an interconnectedness between the people who step into our space. And I think that, you know, from the outside, it might look like, okay, she's holding space, she knows everything, she's done it, tick box, tick box, tick box. But that could actually be bringing up that holding of that space. After that, the facilitator, the healer, whatever, the space holder might actually say, okay, that's why I held that space. Here's my lesson. And it keeps going like that. Like you're the eternal student. And a lot of the time, I think we start off and we say, oh, I'll do this and that'll be great. And I'll do this and that'll be great. And then one day it's like, no, no, you're not going to do that anymore. You're not. And I've just really, I'm still navigating through this myself. My kind of offerings have changed over the past couple of months, even. It's kind of like, and that's where that question comes is, who am I without this? And it's really like learning to discover yourself again and getting to you're becoming maybe impatient, waiting for that clarity to drop, trying to find it, but then actually not sitting and saying, and I'm speaking from experience here,
Mhm.
not sitting and saying, okay, when it's ready to come through, I'm ready to receive it. Um, and thankfully it has come through, which is brilliant, but it took some time, you know?
Yeah, I call it spiritual timing. When it's supposed to be, it'll happen. If we force it, then
Happen.
it's not going to be right. But if we
Exactly.
allow it just to be, it'll be in its own timing.
Absolutely. And we absolutely go through the motions. Like we're human too. We're not like immune from spiraling and grief and loss and, sticky layer peeling or whatever you want to call it. We're not.
Uh-huh.
Like, I think, and that's why I think that transparency is important here to show, like, I'm, I can be vulnerable too. I go through these moments too. I have to step away and step back from being in service too, because, you know, swings and roundabouts, like it
Yeah.
happens.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because that's why I decided to do the podcast again, to show people there's so much out there. And if it resonates, call them, because everyone has a different path, number one. Everyone resonates differently to everybody. And there are people out there that are there to help you on your path. And I
Absolutely.
feel it's so important because I feel a lot of people maybe they feel alone, or
Yeah.
right, like, you haven't these spiritual intuitive gifts. I'm sure at one point you probably said, is this real or not real? you know
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. As much as we don't really need external validation from anyone,
Hmm.
being in a community where people are navigating the same or a similar thing, it can be really, really useful because you realize, like, you're not the crazy person you thought you were,
Hmm.
Or maybe you are the crazy person, and that's good, you know? And I think, yeah, it's great to have those spaces, but having that, remembering always. I only said to a friend recently, I said, I know you don't need this external validation, but I'm just going to say this anyway.
Hmm.
And her response was, yeah, I know I don't need it, but thank you, because
But
sometimes having that,
yeah.
soundboard, that mirror can be really, really helpful, because sometimes it just takes a moment. It takes one person saying one thing for you to say, okay, I'm all right. I'm fine. Thank you. And having that support system is vital. We're not meant to do this alone anyway.
No, and I feel there are people out there. Well, I know growing up for me, I had no help. I mean, my grandma was a healer, but then she passed away when I turned 18. And
Okay.
and then that was that. There was no one else to help me. And so I felt in my heart, maybe I'm not worthy of this. Maybe I don't deserve. So there was all these things going through me. And plus, my mother and father, it was like, oil and vinegar, it just didn't match.
Yeah,
And it was hard. And I really learned the hard way. But I feel in my heart, I was to learn the hard way to get to where I am now.
absolutely. And like that is it. And when you come from an environment where there is no kind of, like, people to guide you on your path, what you actually realize is they are guiding you on your path, because they are the tangible physical beings that are like, hello, living lesson, you know?
Hmm.
And it takes a while, because I think another kind of a thing that I notice a lot, and of course, and I've been through it. Everything I speak about is something that I've been through and can see it from another side now. And yes, other people, I'm not saying don't go through that, because you have to go through that in order for you to come to the realization now. But I think a lot of what I notice is, when we first kind of start out on this journey, there's a lot of blame, there's a lot of separation, there's a lot of, oh, this person did this, therefore boundary. But in hindsight, it could be absolutely set your boundaries, keep your peace, protect yourself.
Hmm.
But on the other side of it is, what lesson can I learn? What lesson is this person being in my life trying to teach me? Is it that I have to set a boundary? Is it a pattern within me that's erupting? So, but I think those who are not on the same path as us, no one is, but like those who are not on a similar path, like-minded in that sense,
Hmm.
they're actually our biggest teachers.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
I don't want to say in a good and bad way, but in ways that will tear you apart, and in ways that will absolutely inspire you in so many ways. But
Oh,
we
yeah,
need both.
right, we need both, and they bring you down so bad that either you stay down or you say, "No, I'm not going to allow this to be." And then you
Exactly.
get that, right, that inner strength inside, and you fight, 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 and you say, "Nope, I'm
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
going to do this."
Yeah, exactly. And that's, yeah, that cultivating that ability to be able to say, hang on a minute,
Mhm.
I see you. I see you in me, especially when it's a family member. I see you. I see that within me. now I have a choice. I don't have to change you,
Hmm.
but I can change how I respond to this and how I can change when I notice a similar pattern coming up in me and say, okay, do you know what? I see that. I love you, but I'm not carrying this on anymore.
Yeah, it's like severing those cords because
Exactly.
it's their journey, not, I always say it is, when people come to see me, and they say, oh, well, I'm just like, that they're just like their mother or father, the addiction or whatever it may be. I say, no, that their journey is their journey. Yours is completely different. And you need to, know that that's the case and be grateful that you have a different journey. Don't allow somebody else's to be yours.
That's it. And again, like stepping onto your own path,
Hmm.
always holding everyone in love, always holding everyone in the light of the Most High, but at the same time discerning whether you want to interact with that or not, and knowing that, and this doesn't necessarily have to be about spirituality or anything like that. It's,
Right.
when we try to, because everything is the same. We're talking about like spirituality and healing and journeys, but ultimately, like our everyday, like us making breakfast in the morning, it's all part and parcel. It's all the same thing. And I think that's a thing it took me a long time to realize that my physical reality and my spiritual reality were actually the same thing. They're not. It's like, okay, now I'm gonna go be spiritual for 6 hours and then I'll be back. It's like
Yeah.
that's not, I mean, but I navigated through that, and but yeah, I think,
Well, it's important to walk the walk, talk the talk, walk the walk.
but not being
Yeah.
able to, but also reminding ourselves that if there is a pattern in someone that you can see,
Hmm.
you can make that known to them if that is the right thing to do,
Hmm.
but you cannot force that person to change if they're not, you can only meet a person where they're at. Like, so you cannot force a person to change. As much as you know that in your heart that that is good for them or it would be right for them or it would help them, you
Hmm.
can bring it up. But if they don't change, that this is where the inner peace gets affected, because the inner peace is when we allow others to affect us. So, I've done what I can here. I've opened up that awareness for them. If they want to see that and take action, they can. I'm not going to let that get to me.
Yeah, you don't want to take on somebody else's energy because it's
No,
theirs.
exactly.
We
Yeah.
don't need to make it ours. So, and I tell that all the time to everybody. It's not yours to keep unless you want to, and then it's
Oh,
different.
exactly. You're happy, you're welcome to keep it, but
Hmm.
you don't have to.
So, have you always had these spiritual gifts? I don't know if I asked you that question before. Um,
I don't think I answered it properly,
oh,
to be
okay.
honest. Um, I think, like I said, from when I was a child, like looking back, reflecting, I was always the child who was like swirling and making symbols in the water when I was a child. Not no unknowing, unbeknownst to me that I was actually doing it. I thought I was just like swirling, you know, or the child who collected rocks, the classic, or the child who collected gemstones or whatever, crystals, like. Um, but then, life's, and these are kind of knocked out of you, or you forget, or you choose to forget, or you're forced to forget, or whatever. So it was actually back in 2023 that I really found that side again. That I actually I attended a circle locally where I am. And after that one day, I said, okay, there's more to this than this, let's explore that a little bit more. And then kind of reflecting on that, like I think my intuition was always, as is all of ours, there's nothing special about me, um, that my intuition was always very strong and I always voiced it.
Mhm.
Um, but maybe I wasn't listened to, and then that kind of forced it to go down. Whereas, like, especially with discerning people, um, I'm kind of remembering and learning now that it's like when I look at a person, I can see two people. I can see the mask, and then I can see the actual person behind it. Um, and discerning, and always, like, I think learning now, again, something a friend had said to me recently, knowing that I can see the pure human behind that. I can see the pure soul behind that. The mask is conditioning. It's also an energy that can pass through people that can kind of distort the way that they navigate life. But I think it's that's their own journey as well. But when we are voicing our intuition and then it's kind of shut down a little bit, then we say, okay, therefore, okay, I'm not right, then I won't continue listening and then I'll stop listening to my intuition. And I think that was probably when I was, I don't know, like under the age of 10, I'd say my intuition was kind of disconnected.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, mine was disconnected when my grandmother passed away at 18. Um, and then, boy, it took me like 20 years to get back to it because
Okay.
I started getting sick. And then I went to a healing circle, and then it just opened it all up again. And it felt what my grandma used to do, healing on me. And I said, wow, this is who I was and what's happened to me. But I was able to, thank you, God, to get back into it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
finally. But it took a long time for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's that really. I think they were always kind of there and I'm still it's still a process. I can't say like I'm not one of those people who always saw angels or, you know, was always connected to different things or would have been considered psychic or whatever, but I don't, and I think that was part at the beginning, that was part of where I was like, okay, what's so special about me? I don't have all these things from when I was like 2 or 3 years old. It's amazing that people do. I think that's brilliant that they're
Hmm.
nurtured in that kind of environment. But yeah, it's the subtle things that I'm still remembering that
Hmm.
you're like, oh, I used to do this, and oh, remember when I did this and then I was right, or all this kind of things. And then that kind of, it almost rekindles that confidence within you that, okay, just because I was told I wasn't right doesn't mean I wasn't. And
Exactly.
what is right, you know?
So let me ask you, like if someone's, listening, how do they start opening their intuition or their inner awareness today? Like what's one simple practice that you would recommend to somebody that maybe has no clue what this is about?
Absolutely. And that's so welcome. And that's why we're here. Because if we're not here speaking about these things, then how can people learn about them? You know? Um, and I'm grateful for you opening this space so that we can speak about this. It's really
Hmm.
exciting. And thank you. I
You're
think
welcome.
one of the things that we can do, like, is simply to really this was something simple that I learned at the very beginning of my own kind of remembering, I want to call it. I don't want to call it an awakening because it's a remembering, is that, when we're listening to our intuition, there's so many systems that can tell us like how we're supposed to listen to our intuition or how we're supposed to make decisions, and they're brilliant. But ultimately, I think it's really becoming in tune with your own vessel, with your own body, with your own being can be a really great way to start. So, and it can be something really simple, like, you know, okay, you're deciding what clothes you want to wear today. Something so simple like, do I want tea or coffee? Do I want to go outside today or do I want to stay at home? And asking yourself that question out loud and seeing how your body responds.
Mhm.
Does your stomach not? Or are you kind of open to it? Like when we're open to something, our body opens. And when we're like, not really, our body kind of goes like that. And notice when your body starts going, or when your body kind of like moving forward, or when your body starts going, is that what I want to do? And
Mhm.
cultivating practices like that on my Instagram. I have in one of the little highlights I did, I think it was in earlier this year, August, potentially, was a 30-day noticing challenge, a 31-day noticing challenge through the senses. So beginning to use the senses as simple as, okay, note one thing in your living room today that passes you by, and you know, or it could be like a sound that you hear every morning and really just tuning into that. Not how it makes you feel necessarily, but
Mhm.
just tuning into these different parts. So we kind of moved through the senses, um, and brought it all together kind of at the end to reflect on that. Reflection for me is really important as well. But noticing those moments, especially where, let's say, you've got an invitation to go to a party, you've got an invitation to go for a coffee with someone, and noticing where you're going, yeah, but your body's actually saying no, and how you actually feel after that. It's kind of like, okay, that is where, and then coming back and saying, okay, just because I didn't listen to in my intuition, that doesn't mean I'm bad. That doesn't mean I'm disconnected. It just means, okay, here's an example of where I didn't listen to my intuition. How can I learn from that? But really simply just tuning in. I know it's really easy to say, just simply tuning in. It's really easy. It's not.
No.
Allowing yourself to sit and see before going to, like, looking externally for things, actually just sitting and saying, okay, how do I feel about this? What is my body trying to tell me about this? And if like placing a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly, that kind of sacral area of that fire, that heart within you, simply just saying, how do I feel about this? Do I want to do this today? And it can be simple, like as in like, do I want to change my pajamas today? Do I want to put on the washing machine today? And or something really simple. And then if your body goes, maybe you have to do it. But it's kind of like, I don't really want to though. But that's just your intuition coming in. And intuition is not something like super psychic and crazy. It's your ability to discern what your
Mhm.
body is telling you.
Oh, it's so important that we listen to our body. It's like getting lost in a car and, you know, this gut feeling says go right, but then we listen to the head and it says go left. We go left and we say, I knew I should have went right,
Really,
right?
like
It's
that.
that feeling. And it's so important that we feel with that feeling because that's our higher self, our God, like the divine, giving us those messages. And then we have the choice whether we want to listen to them or not listen to them. And if we unfortunately do not, then there's just more lessons to learn.
And that's it. And I think, yeah, that's it. Like again, I think you've kind of touched on a really important point there, is that we do always have the choice.
Mhm.
We can hear our intuition and choose not to listen to it, but then knowing, making ourselves, like when we make this decision, say, okay, it's my intuition saying, but I'm going to do this. Kind of making yourself aware that, okay, there might be a lesson here, sorry, because my intuition is telling me to do something else and I'm choosing to go this way, you know. But yeah, really simply sitting, taking a moment, placing your hand on your heart, your hand on your stomach, or whatever. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to look spiritual to be spiritual.
No, no.
You
Yeah.
don't have to do all the things and have all the like. Look at my background. Like,
I
like
know mine is so crazy.
I love it. It's amazing. I love it. I think it's just the environment that we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
But like, you don't have to sit a certain way or do a certain thing, or
Mhm.
meditate for 3 hours a day or whatever. You can if you want. That's great. But just sitting and thinking, okay, a decision that I make today, or somebody says something. Somebody says, I think we should go here today. And your body goes, no, I don't really want to go there. Not even acting on the intuition, but just recognizing
That is
my
the.
body's trying to tell me that I don't want this,
Mhm.
or it doesn't want this. And a simple thing of kind of like going to a cafe and being like, I'm gonna have a chai latte, and then your body goes, no, and you're like, no, actually, I'll get an Americano. You know?
Because it knows it's not good for you. We're gonna do it anyway, though. Yeah, it's crazy how we just ignore it.
Yeah.
We just ignore it. And yeah, I know even for myself, I've ignored mine, going back many years ago. I've ignored it, and boy, it kept on like doing like that to me until I finally took a moment and say, all right, what is it that I really need to learn and grow from this
That's
and
it.
step into my next, myself,
Mm.
be me, not be who everybody else wants me to be.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And it takes courage to do that though. It takes a lot of courage to go against the grain and say, you know what? No. Like a really key example for me from just really simple daily life is anytime I went to a coffee shop, I would go for an oat latte. My body does not like coffee at all. I wish it did, but it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It just doesn't. It doesn't agree. I love the smell of it. I like the taste of it. It's just my body doesn't like it. So, and it took me so long to listen. And then I thought, it didn't even occur to me that I could get, it's the caffeine, it's not the coffee itself. And after that, it took me a moment and I said, oh, I could get a decaf. Why am I doing this to myself? Why am I not listening? Then I started getting a decaf, and then it was still like there was something like, no. And then I said, do you know what? I think I was getting a coffee because everyone was getting a coffee, but I just really wanted a ginger tea or something like that, you
Right.
know?
We're following.
Your coffee order, do you know? Like,
So let me ask you, where do you see, your company is the Heart Space, right?
yeah.
Where do you see it going in the next like year or two? And, do you have like new offerings or expansions that you're excited about?
I have, do you know what? I have so much that's coming and it's so exciting. I think I like I said earlier, uh, I'm going through kind of a very much of a transition phase at the moment where things are falling away and they're being kind of replaced with more things that are more aligned with who I am at the moment. And again, that can change. But I'm really focusing on cultivating that community space, cultivating where people can come and they can, whether it be online through like a Substack or like my newsletter or, you know, even through Instagram, all of these platforms, YouTube, that they can access kind of if they want to work with me on Insight Time or things like that.
Hmm.
Having that community where it's reaching who it needs to reach, but also having live spaces online and in person where I am in my kind of local area, where people can come and know that, you know, this is a space for them to be held and that there's no expectation, that there's no agenda, it's just building that kind of community for people to have that space to for whatever they need it for. There's no
Hmm.
specific purpose. It's just, you
It's just
know,
there.
not trying to teach anyone anything, but just there to be a guiding light, I guess, in a way that I can. But not necessarily saying, okay, you have to do this, 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 tick the box. Um, so I do at the present have my kind of one-to-one offerings, which would be the likes of tarot, um, which is always with it's every session is very different. Tarot for me is it's an extension of the self. So we have 72 cards. They're all an aspect of us. So my tarot, where I focus on it, is not necessarily about this is going to happen to you in 6 years. And people do it like that. I think that's great. Everyone is different in the way they approach things. Mine, again, because my value is awareness, embodiment, integration, or noticing embodiment, integration, embodiment, even. I think that for me, tarot is more about, okay, here's something that wants to be brought into your awareness. Whether you choose to do with that is up to you,
Hmm.
essentially. So tarot looks like that. I also do really I work with things that have helped me, that continue to help me, and in the hope that maybe they might help someone else, or they might steer them to something like in a way that will help them, kind of thing. So, and not everybody needs help, but it's just having, there's also that element of play in it. Like it is fun, getting a new Oracle deck and opening it and having a play. Like I think that's something that we forget in this container of spirituality is that, yes, there's so much that there's bigger than us, and we're all here essentially to, you know, work in alignment with the mother and like help humanity. And all of us have that mission, whether we choose to accept it or whether we ever realize it or not. But so two other offerings I have at the moment are kind of still evolving, are like working with ceremonial cacao, um, and allowing that to allowing her to work with you and cultivating a one-to-one relationship, that you're not just drinking a cup of chocolate, you're really on a one-to-one level. The ceremony is guiding you through that. It's guiding you through kind of eating the spirit of cacao and opening your awareness up to her and what she wants to move through with you. Because that has been profound. It's been really profound for me over the years working with her and the different origins and the different varieties, and they all have a different story to tell. Um, and then of course there's like the nutritional benefits and everything of that with all of that, especially for women. Um, and then my other offering is I've similar to yourself, I work with energy um a lot, and I offer kind of, this is in group and one-to-one as well, depending on what the person needs. Um, kind of like healing journey, like bespoke healing journeys, or I don't like the word bespoke, healing journeys that are kind of tailored to that particular person, whatever comes through that particular person. That's where I'm at the moment with my one-to-ones, and then it's kind of just expanding them and bringing them into also into a like that, especially in the cacao, not so much the taro, into a group capacity, online and in person, um, to ultimately reach the hearts of those who have a connection with me already, even if they are aware of it or not, and just holding people in love. And then the most exciting thing is I have a very exciting announcement that's coming in 2026, but I can't share it yet. So
Yes, I know about it. That was going to be my next question.
no, it's actually something else. It's not that.
Oh, okay.
There's something else that I can't share yet, but there's something very special coming. It's being born through me, I think is the best way to say it. But it will be coming in 2026. Um, and all I can say is it's working with water and light, but that's all I can say.
Okay.
The other thing is the retreat that's
Right, the retreat in 2026 in
so
Ireland. Wow.
it it is, yeah. So myself and my lovely co-host and very good friend Nadia, who is from Texas actually. Um, we have kind of co-created this tr luxury retreat for the summer solstice. So it's between the 19th and the 22nd of June 2026 in Wicklow, which is known as the Garden of Ireland. It's where I live as well. It's a beautiful space, it's a beautiful kind of luxury eco hideaway nestled in the mountains of Wicklow. It's very near Glendalough, which is a kind of a sacred site. Um, that doesn't describe it at all very well, but it's a very, very wonderful place. So what we have done is we've created a 3 day, a 3 night luxury retreat called The Light Within, which is working with the energy of the summer solstice, of course. Um, but it's also, again, inviting a spaciousness for people to come connect with themselves, connect with nature, connect with the other people there. Um, with ourselves, of course. We have a lovely girl coming in, another dear friend of mine coming in to do like nature immersion and yoga, like slow restorative movement. Her name's Saoirse. She's amazing. Um, and ultimately, the weekend is very much about nourishing the self. The food in the Deerstone is just, it's all locally sourced, locally grown. It's kind of put together by the most wonderful chef. Her name is Isis. She's beautiful. And it's this lovely little, it's when you go to this space, you feel like you're kind of entering another realm to a degree. Like you're completely in this held sanctuary of nature, and there's it's been curated by the owners in such a way where there's like little nooks where you can go and read, or there's like blankets and there's a fire that you can light at night, and these kind of luxury cottages that they feel like home. Um, and through the weekend, people will have space to go and discover, which is why it is actually 3 days, or 3 nights, even 4 days.
Mhm.
So they have that space to go and discover the landscape and have their time where they can. There's saunas, there's options for massage, there's um jacuzzis, hot tubs. With every cottage, there's a hot tub there. Like these little things, but having the spaciousness not to have a full agenda of let's do this. It's we'll do this and then we'll regroup in 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever. So our part there is having lovely ceremonies with cacao, working through meditation, the movement, the yoga, the delicious food, um, healing meditative journeys, and then also a beautiful kind of solstice fire. And the aim and the real what's coming through for us is just allowing ourselves and the people who come the time to cultivate that light within and really connect to that while the sun is at its peak in the sky. And so it's, of course, open to everybody. We're so excited about it. So excited about it. It's open to everybody, of course, because Nadia, my co-facilitator, is from the US as well. It's open to anyone from anywhere.
From everywhere. Uh-huh.
And we have a beautiful travel agency working with us so that if there are people going from the US, um, they will be they can if they choose to extend their journey they have like a helping hand all the way and helping them to curate their travel in a way that is meaningful for them. And I'm based in Ireland, so it's very close for me, but having a summer solstice experience
Wow.
on this mystical land is just, I mean, me even being here, like I'm excited about it and I live here. Do you know what I mean?
I'm excited and I'm in California. I mean,
Oh, and that's it. We have
yeah, it's like sounds amazing. So
um
it sounds so healing.
it's that, and that's what we're going for, like
Mhm.
healing, connection, bliss, joy, fun as well. Like it's not serious. It's just a time to breathe, a time to connect, and working with Nadia and working with our travel agent, which is Ascendia Travel Society. So she's working with curating that travel so that if anyone listening or if anyone in the US has that kind of yes towards this, that we can put you in contact with her and she can curate your journey as well. So, like getting to Ireland, getting to the Deerstone, everything will be seamless from start to
For you.
finish, which
Wow.
is special. So we have, yeah, it's how many months away? Good few months away, about eight
Yeah,
months
oh
away.
yeah, but it's time to
Months away.
plan. Wow.
You
So
do, exactly. So we have
yeah,
payment plans available as well, um, that are, yeah. So everything is included. Anything that I've mentioned about the Deerstone, the food, the accommodation, all of the activities, um, are all included. And we just want to create this really exciting, bright, joyful space for people to celebrate such a beautiful part of our Celtic calendar because, of it's one of the key kind of parts of the Celtic wheel that we celebrate, and to celebrate that in Ireland is also something very special. And the summer solstice is just such a joyful time of year. It's bright, it's sunny,
mhm.
there's all of the nature is just exploding with color, and it's a mystical, magical place. And yeah,
This sounds
very excited.
amazing, amazing. So where can people find you and find this?
It's all accessible through my website, which is the-heartspace.com. Also on Instagram, there's a link on my Instagram. But we do encourage, if anybody has any questions about it or any doubts, curiosities, to reach out via email, reach out via DM to myself or to Nadia. And yeah, everything is bookable through my website. Whether people would have the choice of the deluxe private room, which is like a double bed and an ensuite within the cottage. The cottage has 3 rooms, and then there's also an option to do if people are coming together or they want to share a room with someone. We have the twin deluxe option as well. And the rooms I've been there for to obviously see the place, and also I've been there and stayed there myself, and it's a little slice of heaven, and that's an understatement.
I can
So
actually feel that. So
yeah, it really is.
wow. So again, what is your website? I mean, it'll be in the notes, but just one more time.
The-heartspace.com. Or you can find me under on Instagram as the Heartspace underscore. Um,
Wonderful.
which is yeah. So everything is there. There's lots of kind of content on the website which has a detailed breakdown of everything that's included, the different options. We have kind of painful options. We also have payment plan options for those who want to kind of stagger it over a couple of months. We can totally understand that, obviously. And then in terms of the travel, for those of you from the US, we have our beautiful Teresa from Ascending Travel Society, who is just amazing at curating the most beautiful travel packages. So whether you say, okay, 4 days in Ireland, great, but let's make it a week, or 4 days in Ireland, great, let's make it 10 days.
Hmm.
That's so yeah, there's lots of options, but we would love to hear from you. And we would love to help in any way that we can with that if there is the interest, if this has kind of ignited that little light within you and you want not a light, it's a very big light, big bright light, but if that has ignited anything within you, we would love for you to reach out.
Wow, well, thank you. Wow, this was a beautiful interview. You're a beautiful soul. You're so, ah, I hate to use the word sweet, but there's just this sweetness about you. There's just this beauty about you. And, thank you so much for, coming on to the show today.
You're so thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor. It was, it's it's really it's a moment of it's a bit of a wow moment when somebody reaches out internationally to be ask you to go on their podcast and you're like, this is so exciting. And it's just this lovely little sign of, okay, like this is really exciting. I'm so ready for it. It's just it's yeah, it's been such a beautiful opportunity. So thank you so much for having you like allocating your time and you know sharing my voice with your community.
Well, thank you. Believe me, thank you so much for your wisdom, your love, with us today. And, I'm deeply grateful, for the insights. And if anyone is looking to go to a beautiful retreat to Ireland, look up her, website and go for it because uh I mean it's a beautiful thing to be able to do something for people. Um,
Absolutely.
and of course, thank you to my beautiful listeners, for opening your hearts and joining all of us on this journey. And remember, you are powerful, you are loved, and your light matters more than you'll ever know. So until next time, just keep shining, keep believing in yourself, and know that you are never, ever alone on this path. So have a beautiful week filled with love and with light. Love, Barbara.